Scapegoats are quite literally the burden-bearing members of a toxic family. They carry the narcissistic parents' dirty water of shame, blame, negative self-feelings that nobody else in the family needs to carry if we have a scapegoat. But scapegoats are not destined for terrible adulthoods by any means. In fact, there are some serious benefits to being the scapegoat when compared to the golden child or the other members of the family. Today, I'm sharing 6 silver linings of being a scapegoat. The last one might actually be the most important, so stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, I'm Tanya. I grew up in a family of 4 children. I was the scapegoat of my family, but I didn't realize it until I was in my 40s. As I compare the scapegoat experience to the golden child, keep in mind that nobody is free from harm in this toxic family dynamic. These benefits will help scapegoats feel the long-lasting power and strength of their supposed low rank in a family system, hopefully more than ever before. The first benefit or silver lining of being the scapegoat: personal strength and life skills. You see, the scapegoat, because we weren't handed much and we had to learn things on our own, when we go out into the world as adults, we are much more resilient. We had to grow up quickly. We didn't get protection from the world the same way that our siblings did. Because of this, we end up being more independent. We're just more ready for adult life. The golden child tends to be much more dependent for financial support, moral support, positive encouragement. My own siblings really were kept dependent on the narcissist for a very long time. The golden child does not necessarily have it easier in this case. They don't develop the same independence that the scapegoat will. The second silver lining is the ability to grow beyond our family. Because of our outsider status, we tend to be emotionally ghosted pretty early on, even without the label of narcissism or toxic family. As kids, we see that difference and we want to understand why it is that we're treated so differently. And this is what typically brings the scapegoat into a place of personal development and growth. Because we are exploring, we're seeking, we're trying to figure out what really happened. We want to understand ourselves, be better people, understand others, treat others fairly. The beauty of this is that being oppressed and marginalized actually removes us from the echo chamber of the narcissistic family system. The golden child is rewarded for conforming to the family. They get praise, attention, love, financial support. The golden child is raised to believe they're already perfectly worthy and fine as they are, so there's really no need to grow. The third silver lining of being a scapegoat is compassion. And because we know what it's like to be left out in the cold, emotionally, we actually have a chance to develop compassion in a totally radical way. We are far less likely to hurt others intentionally or deny someone validation for their feelings or struggles. We are also often expected to show a lot of compassion for our family members without getting much in return. So it's a selfless compassion that we develop. If anything, we struggle with self-compassion, but once we find that, we are unstoppable. The golden child is protected and coddled, perhaps forever, in this system. And they watch the scapegoat not receive the same kind of compassion and support that they do. So they grow up believing that they are special, that they must deserve it somehow. They become overly self-compassionate towards themselves in many cases because that's what was modeled for them, compassionate care for them. But that doesn't necessarily teach them to give the rest of the world compassion, and they become far more self-centered because of their golden child status. The fourth silver lining: the scapegoat typically becomes a truth seeker and a truth teller. To keep ourselves grounded, we need truth. We grow up being dismissed, lied to, gaslit. We get triangulated on with smear campaigns that rival political ads. We hear so often that our memories are incorrect, that we are being overdramatic, oversensitive, that what we're saying is completely untrue, and essentially that we are the problem even though we are trying desperately not to be. So as scapegoats, we actually work harder, we take more notes. And because of this, truth actually becomes sacred to the scapegoat. We often tend to commit ourselves to understanding and telling the truth beyond what others even think about. We are focused on being accurate. We are quick to admit when we're wrong, when we make a mistake, and we are more understanding of others who make mistakes. Eventually, we realize that our truth has been denied systematically to keep us down. We need integrity, and we value it so much in other people, and the truth matters. It's really a huge benefit to us later. Golden children grow up learning from the master manipulator that is the narcissistic parent. They have this behavior modeled and encouraged to lie, cheat, steal, do whatever you need to do to get your own needs met. The golden child gets away with bad behavior. They get away with dishonesty. They get away with selfishness and selective truth-telling. The golden child walks on water. They get to decide what is true, just like their parent. They don't see many consequences for this kind of behavior as a child because they are kind of blindly supported by their narcissistic parent. And this is why integrity can be really lacking in an adult golden child. The fifth silver lining to being a scapegoat is how we eventually become parents or caretakers ourselves. Because of how we experience childhood, we are far less likely to repeat that cycle with our own children. We know what it feels like to be silenced, oppressed, held back, targeted by our own parents. Many of us vow early on to never become parents or never treat our children that way, no matter what, because we know what it feels like on the other side. We're not going to do that to somebody else. When our narcissistic parent says that they had a tough childhood, nobody would ever repeat that if they were actually suffering that much. I myself have 2 teenagers and a very young stepdaughter, and if you're interested in how I've grown to parent my children, subscribe, drop a comment, let me know. I'd be happy to share what I do and how I think about parenting for anyone interested. Golden children are actually most likely to continue the cycle of abuse and mistreatment that was set in place by the narcissistic parent. Their early ability to manipulate and get away with things, also seeing their scapegoated sibling treated poorly and having to normalize that. And this all contributes to this cycle of toxic parenting continuing on into adulthood. The golden child is much more likely to go on to show the same rage, manipulations, favoritism among their children. They continue that cycle because they don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. They benefited from it. So they have a lot less incentive to actually find a better way. They also really don't want to see and admit that the scapegoat didn't deserve the treatment they were given. They don't want to acknowledge that. It's a setup for disaster, generation after generation. The sixth and final and probably most important silver lining of being a scapegoat is that we are not beholden to our parents. We don't owe them anything because we really didn't get very much as far as love, compassion, and care. We are free to walk away because we know we haven't been treated fairly. We know that there's been a huge campaign against us. Whether it's overt or covert, we have every right to walk away and build our lives for ourselves. We are free. We are free to walk away. The golden child is much more dependent on the family system. Because the narcissist did so much to protect and defend the golden child, that golden child grows up indebted to that parent. And so it's much harder to walk away from that. They are not free. The golden child is trapped in loyalty, and they are the most involved with the family for years after they become an adult. This is why I say being the golden child definitely has some major drawbacks. As the narcissistic parent begins to age or show signs of decline, the golden child is going to be the preferred person to step in and help. The golden child will end up benefiting greatly from staying involved in the way of inheritance, other gifts. In my family, the golden child was promised our family home. There was no discussion with any of the other family members. Not that I would ever want that house, for many reasons. They are not free to walk away. I really hope this was helpful in some way for those of you who are scapegoats like me. Sometimes it can feel like we're climbing a hill for the rest of our lives, trying to find personal freedom, confidence, and joy. If you were the scapegoat or if you were the golden child, I would love to know about your experience. Thank you so much for watching today. If you're interested in the narcissistic parent bingo card, it is coming out soon. I am on the verge of finishing it and I would love to share it with you guys. This is going to be for people who are having phone calls or conversations with a narcissistic parent. You will be able to play bingo with their ridiculous behavior. Stay tuned. I hope you'll join me. Thanks again. Bye.